Donald Trump is discouraging Republican voters from voting unless he gets something very specific that he demands. He says if we don't solve the presidential election fraud of 2020, which we have thoroughly and conclusively documented, no they haven't, Republicans will not be voting in 2022 and 2024. It is the single most important thing for Republicans to do. This was a statement that he recently released. By the way, while Trump claimed that he won the states of Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania at a rally in Iowa just this past Saturday, Biden actually won each of those states. That's from a report, by the way, from National Review, which is not in any way a liberal outlet. It is a conservative outlet. So Trump also claimed, by the way, that he has never conceded in the 2020 election. The former president also compared his actions to Hillary Clinton in 2016, saying, quote, here's the difference, Hillary Clinton conceded, I never conceded, no reason to concede, except he's on tape conceding. Let's watch.
Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation.
Sounds like a concession to me.
Yeah, and by the way, it's funny because the right-wing often says, oh, what's the difference that Trump and us never gave up and we keep saying he won despite the fact that he didn't. Hillary did the same thing with the Russia. Well, Trump just said she didn't do the same thing, she conceded.
Consistency doesn't matter. Consistency does not matter at all. The video evidence that I just showed you of Donald Trump conceding doesn't matter at all, specifically referring to Trump's avid supporters. The evidence doesn't matter, none of it matters to them. What matters is that they support Trump at any and all costs, and we're seeing that right now.
Right, last thing on that small note, that some people who consider themselves on the left, but actually are not, also make similar points. Like, oh, Hillary never conceded, because of Russiagate. That's not true, that's not even close to true. She whined about 1,000 different reasons why she lost, none of which was true. She lost because she was a terrible candidate who was an establishment figure when the country hates establishment. The excuses are true, but she conceded. She didn't go around saying, oh no, I won. She didn't sue, she didn't go to the 60 court cases, she didn't lose the 60 court cases, she didn't ask for audits after the court cases.
Right, there were no audits.
Yeah, she didn't go to Mar-a-Lago and whine every day, I think I won. That's your bitch, Donald Trump. And if you're on the left and he's your boy, you're not on the left. I got news for you. Oh no, don't talk about Trump. Don't talk about Trump. Trump derangement syndrome. We love Trump. I mean, we ignore Trump. Shut up and go be a right winger. Okay, so now back to the main point here. He is discouraging the voting. Well, that's a disaster for the Republican Party, and I love to see it. So now, if he keeps this up, this is putting like crybaby syndrome on nuclear level. So now what are they gonna do? He cost them the Georgia Senate seats. That's almost, I mean, based on the data, it is overwhelmingly clear. Counties that he won, Republicans did not show up at the same rate that they showed up for him. Democrats did. He suppressed his own vote, and the Republicans lost the Senate. And that's why Democrats might pass a bill here and there, right? And so now he's threatening to do it again. Well, that puts him on a collision course with other Republicans. Because it's one thing to kiss his ass when there isn't much of a downside for you, it's just a downside of democracy and decency.
Right.
But when it affects you and your elections, and he's telling everybody to come to not show up to vote for you, well, now you're on a collision course. Because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you say, hey, Trump is right, don't vote for me, you're damned. If you say Trump is wrong, oh my God, he don't like me, everybody attack him. And his dumbass followers will rip you apart. So congratulations, there's your Frankenstein, you go deal with it.
Well, what's interesting is how many Republicans, including those in the business community, and I know this based on conversations I had when I was doing the debate with Ben Shapiro, like they despise Trump, but they're terrified to say it publicly because the supporter base is real. But in terms of the business community, in terms of the Republican members of Congress, they don't like Trump. but they have to pander to Trump's base because Trump's base is a significant portion of the Republican electorate, right? So you're right, they find themselves in a difficult spot. However, there are some Republicans who are willing to speak out. So I want to go to this fun, I guess, campaign that's taking place right now with a Republican organization. They're putting up these massive billboards in various parts of the country. Here's an example. This one was put up in Times Square, and it's the Republicans for Voting Rights. They launched a billboard campaign across the country in response to reckless Republican calls for sham audits of the 2020 election. Here's one we've put up in New York City's Times Square, they write. And then the group also said it plans to put up dozens of billboards in 8 states, many near state capitol buildings, and in locations where Trump supporters are pushing for audits, including Georgia, Florida, Texas, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Michigan. And so here's an example of one of the billboards that they also put up. And it, I really do appreciate the photo that they used.
Yeah,
it's a good photo.
Yeah, definitely. So the only thing that might keep Trump from running again and perhaps completely obliterating democracy is what Michael Cohen said, which is if he lost twice, he just, his ego could not handle it. It would implode. It's already imploded. Imagine he loses again. He's definitely going to call for violence. Definitely. You could write it down in stone. I will eat whatever shorts you need me to eat if Donald Trump runs and loses again and doesn't call for violence. Okay, so, and by the way, right now, is he gonna run again? I don't know what you guys are talking, like, again, Cohen's theory is the only hope. Right now, he's quadrupling the next closest Republican within the primaries. Donald Trump is 100% in charge of the Republican Party. Chuck Grassley, who said he was extreme and irresponsible and unconstitutional after January 6th. Oh, Dean of Republicans, principled conservative, been around for decades. When kissed Trump's ass the other day, took his endorsement. He said, what do you want me to do? Not take his endorsement? He said 91% of my voters love him. So my principles, I crumpled them up, I threw them in the garbage, and then I threw that in the toilet and I flushed it. That's what the state of the Republican Party. So what are you guys gonna do now? What are you gonna do? And by the way, those billboards, yes, I love them, but don't get it wrong. The press will report that as principled ex-Republicans, and they are, or current Republicans, but that don't agree with Trump. But it's not just principles. That billboard in Times Square costs $1 gajillion. It's moneyed interest. Okay, they're doing the right thing. They're doing the right thing in this case, but it's likely corporate donors who think, well, I like X, Y, and Z, right?
I like the tax cuts, but I don't like the disinformation about the vaccines because I want my slaves back at work. I want them vaccinated. I want the economy going again. That's honestly what's going on here, right? But they're too afraid to say it publicly, so they fund these campaigns to put these types of billboards out there.
Exactly. So all of these politicians are now going to be faced with a choice. And they can't win with either side. Either they're gonna follow Trump into oblivion and say, don't vote for us, which is unbelievable.
I'm here for it.
Right, or they're gonna try to oppose Donald Trump and Trump is gonna crush them. And then Frankenstein's minions will be like, yes, they will love that blood sport. And have at it, Hoss, rip your own party apart. I can't wait. And by the way, there is a silver lining in that. If they rip each other to shreds and the corporate Republicans get exposed, we're trying to expose our own corporate Democrats on our side. If you guys expose your corporate Republicans, then there'll be an upside to this insanity that's going on right now in the Republican Party. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.